Excellent. So, well, welcome everybody. So it's good to see you here on our Customer Mastery workshop. For those that haven't been before, this is one of a series of 6 that we repeat every 3 months, and each one is slightly different. The content, overall content's the same, but you know, the people on the call are different, the questions are different, so it's always worth coming back, you know, a few times each year just to get more information. Just also, you also at different stages of your business, thinking of different things, so it's good to come back and refresh. But we're really looking at sort of the fundamentals here of each of these areas. So today we're looking really at how do we keep our customers longer, so keeping them on board, but also getting them to come back and spend more money. You know, that's the real concept of these two. So before we start, I'd like you to just pop in the chat box, so if you can open it up, and just what's one key thing you'd like to get out of today? You know, maybe it's a challenge that you're facing with your existing clients. Maybe it's something that you want to do with your existing client base. So today's not about new business. It's not about bringing sort of marketing or sales and converting those. It does touch it into new business, but predominantly through referrals. So how do we bring it? How do we get clients to actually refer other work to us? The rest of it is really about that sort of customer service and creating what we call raving fans. So just pop in the chat box there. So I'll read a few of these out. So it's a sport there's a mind game versus yourself. Okay, yeah. So how to keep customers wanting more. Cool. So anything specific on that, Neil? Sort of rather than sort of, that's quite a general thing. Customer experience, good. Related to existing customers, good. Yeah, we'll definitely cover that. How to keep in touch with clients without wasting hours chatting to them. Okay, we'll probably bring that one up at one of the sections, James. We might have to look into a little bit on that one. Probably better on my time mastery workshop, that one. Improve a customer relationships. Good. Thanks, Dave. And outstanding experience. Yeah, hopefully we'll be looking at those things. So any more? Good, that's a nice specific one. So more testimonials and good feedback. So yes, yeah, we'll do that. If I don't go specifically, then you'll see the time to talk about that one, Dan, and you can pick it up at that particular area. So relationships already have, get them stronger. Cool, yeah. So you know, on Gary's point there, you know, customer service is a big thing to think about. Well, who is the customer? You know, sometimes a customer is not the customer. You know, if we're working with strategic alliances, you know, who refer work to us, they are the customer. Okay, so our relationships with them as equally important as with the end user, the person who actually buys the product or service from us. So exactly the same thing is going to apply, just in a slightly different way from both. So being on the client side whilst operating an efficient business, yeah. So how much do we give is an important one on there. So excellent, good. Okay, well look, keep a side note of that. If I haven't covered that by the end of today, then please bring it up again, and it'll remind me just to sort of focus 5 minutes at the end on that particular area. So I always start these workshops with my little formula for life success. So whatever you want in life, this formula must stack up. Who do we need to be? What do we need to do? And what do I want to have? And as those that have been here a number of times will tell you, the most important of those 3 is the have. We've got to be clear, what is it we want to have? Then we've got to be, so we've got to gain the knowledge and the skills and have the right attitude, and then we've got to actually plan and do something about it. So if we want great customer service, okay, if we want referrals, if we want an increase in our average transaction value, if we want our clients to stay longer and spend more with us, then what we've got to do is understand what that looks like. Really have a picture of what it is we want to have. Once we know what we want to have, then we know the gap is from where we are to where we want to go. And then we've got to increase our knowledge and skills and either do more or do better than we have been doing in the past. So I think one of the key things then with this is, what is that number one goal that you want from your customer service? And so what is it? What is the end result that you want as a result of doing what you're doing? So just in your chat box, just put something there. What would be that key goal that you're after? Happy customers, okay. More business. Scroll back up here. There's sales. So sales, more business, repeat business, coming back for more. Enough assets to be financially free. More business, happy customers. Most customers have lovely customers who pay on time. So I would say from all of those is those are all, yeah, they're good, but they're all fluffy. Okay, so when you say I want happy customers, does that mean all of your customers currently are miserable? Okay, because you know, how do you measure happiness with customers? So if you can't measure it, then you can't materialize it. You can't make it happen. So Raving Fans, great. So the first thing would be you've got to decide is, well, what does a raving fan look like? How many raving fans have I got? What classifies as a raving fan? Yeah, 5-star reviews, that's a nice one because presumably you can measure that one. Yeah, how many 5-star reviews have you got? So how many 5-star reviews do you want? So what's that number going to be in that period? So we start to look at this, and we can have the dream, the big sort of dream, which doesn't have to be that sort of smart. But when we come down into what we're really thinking about doing, is we've got to be a little bit more specific. It's got to be measurable. We've got to be able to achieve it within the time frame that we're looking. So, you know, testimonials, great. So how many testimonials do we want? Yeah. So we've really got to start thinking, if we don't, because and this is why I always say with customer mastery, it's actually the easiest of the sort of 5 ways. Well, second easiest, I think. Margins and saving money is probably the easiest, but it's the second because you've already got a relationship with your clients. They already know, like, and trust you. You've done the hard work already in getting them in the first place, converting them, delivering them a good service. So you've done 80% of the work. But what happens is with marketing, it's quite easy because I want 5 new leads. I want £10,000 of new business. When it comes to your customers, you get a little bit, oh, I'm not too sure what I want. So we've got to start be thinking, right, from our customers, because if I go back up to here, so we'll go back, back to here. Sorry, it's the next slide. If I go to here, yeah, number of transactions and transaction value, those are the numbers that we're trying to influence. So how do I get my customers staying longer? So number of transactions. how do I get them spending more? And also, you know, if it is referrals, how many referrals am I getting, which is actually driving those number of leads? So we've really got to think about this as being getting really specific in what do we actually want. Okay, because otherwise we're gonna sort of struggle with this to know where we start, who do we need to be, what do we need to do. You know, danger is you just start doing the same thing over and over again, and that's not really going to help us. So the first thing you've got to be able to visualize here is, what does your ideal client look like? So what does an A grade client look like? So we tend to categorize our clients into A, B, C, D. So A's are your awesome clients. So these are the ones that you've got that, you know, are all of these things. They are raving fans. They stay with you a long time. They spend a lot of money with you. Okay, this is really key to understanding what does that look like. B6 as a sort of, yeah, they're okay. You know, they're, you know, you make money out of them. They're okay, but they don't light up the world. These are the could do betters. You know, they're a bit of a, perhaps a bit of a pain, or don't quite deliver what they could deliver. And these are the ones that actually, you know, you wish you didn't have. And if you think about it, of all your customers, which one of these takes up the most time and effort? Does your time and your effort and your money go into servicing which of these clients?
Bottom two.
Well, bottom one. Okay. C's, yeah. I mean, they tend to be down here because you don't spend any time with them. Because you're either spending, you know, these are nice to deal with. These are, I think, was it Dan that said, you know, these are the ones we like chatting to and take up the time because they're worth putting the effort into. These ones are just demanding. You know, they drag all of our time. So we look at sort of trying to get rid of these and spend 80% of our time up here. So these are the ones that are going to help your business to grow. And these are the ones that we want more of. So how do we create more of these A grade clients? Where do we find them? How do we get them in? How do we turn C's into B's? How do we turn B's into A's? So the first thing we've got to do with when we're setting our goals for what we want to have, you've got to be really clear, what does a great client look like? Okay, and actually write that down and categorize, you know, your clients into these A, B, C, Ds. We also do this if you come to the marketing one. We also do this in marketing because this helps us with our marketing strategies. When we go out there into the market, we want more A's. No point in marketing for C's and D's because, you know, it's just going to be a long, hard slog. We want these people up here, these A grade clients. Okay? So, and sometimes we can do things to create them or help them move up here, and other times we've got to go and find more of them. So, number one is find, you know, categorize our existing client base, identify what makes an A grade over a B grade. So some of the factors that can help with that are, you know, it might be the number of sales that they do, how quickly they pay, how often they buy from you, you know, the average value sale. You know, they're generally going to be spending more. You know, is it the number of referrals, the number of complaints? You know, what is it that identifies them? So Helena, what's sort of within your business? What would you say categorizes an A grade client?
An A grade client would be hot to trot, so committed to buying. They would have an average value of, you know, above £45,000 or of kitchen. they would value design and pay for it. They would have our values and be happy to follow our processes. And they would be pleasant to engage with. On at a basic level, all of those things.
Yeah, and I mean, Sophie's just sort of added in there, multiple households. You think, somebody that's, got multiple houses and had a kitchen from you in one, to have multiple households would be great. Might be that they're well connected and they know a lot of people, a lot of affluent people in a similar circle. So for those that don't know, Myers Touch, Helena, Sophie, and Keith and Dan, Pete's Pete on there. Pete's there as well. Are all part of Myers Touch, which is a high-end kitchen company, kitchen design company. Okay, so we start to identify the types of clients that we really want, that really make them BA grade, and it's generally not always the transactional side. It's generally more the person. People buy from people. So it's what type of person that is, what type of company that is, what type of business that is. These are going to be certain factors that we need to identify it, to see it within what we've got, and then that's where we start and we work for. So once we know our clients, we've categorized them into our ABCDs, then we've got to understand how our sales target for the year breaks down. Because for some of us, our sales target starts at 0 every year. So nobody that bought from us last year is going to buy from us next year. But for a lot of us, the people that bought from us last year will buy from us next year, whether we do anything or not. There's already a repeat business factor within where we are. So we've got to break our sales target down to, what are we going to get from our existing clients? What are we going to get from our new clients? Yeah, and then set our budget, set our forecast to identify clearly how much do we want from our existing clients, how much do we want from our new clients. So if I got, say, I get a, just move you down a little bit. So if I said my sales target for next year was, let's say it was £1 million. So let's go to £1 million, okay? And I knew that my existing clients were going to bring in 500,000 this year. And last year I achieved new sales of £250,000. Okay, so last year I did 750. This year I want to do £1 million. Yeah. Now, what most people will do is go, right, well, I need to double that, and that needs to be 500,000. Plus, I've already got, it's me my £1 million. That's not necessarily the case. I'd be looking at this and saying, look, out of the 500,000 that I'm going to get, no matter what I do, could, working on this, working on strategies on this, could I increase that to 600,000? What could I do in here to actually increase it to that? In addition to that, are there some of people in here that I could look for referrals, yeah, and add another 100,000 of referrals, which makes that 700,000, which means I only need to do 50,000 more than I did last year in my new business, because this is the hardest. Sorry, my pens. Yeah, this is hardest, and this should be the easiest. So why make this extremely difficult and go for 500,000 when actually I can make it relatively easy and go for just a little bit more, 10, 20% more, and actually have strategies up here and in here. So we've always got to look at setting our sales target for the following year and then break it down where it's going to come from. Okay, and when you do the sales and marketing, you'll see that once we come to this level, that we need leads and conversion rate in here. So I don't know why my pen's doing that at the moment. So leads and conversion in here, and average transaction value and number of transactions up here. So that's when we come into that 5 ways numbers. So we've got to break down our sales target into new business, existing business, and then have our strategies around our existing business as much as our new business. Now, if I said to you on that, if we're looking on this basis, so from here, you can see from here, we're looking for £200,000 worth of new business for our existing clients and £300,000 from new clients. Yeah. And I had a marketing budget, let's say, of £50,000. How should I split that £50,000 between these two? Yeah. You there, Neil? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so how would I split that 50,000 down between the two?
Well, based on the figures you've done there, you'd probably put more into potential. Well, I don't know. It'd be quite relative, the same between slightly more into existing and slightly less into new clients, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, simply, I'd probably start with 20k there and 30k there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas most people, if they hadn't done that, they'd be spending 50,000 here.
Yeah.
So then we'd say, right, well, actually, I've now got a £20,000 marketing budget to get more out of my existing clients. So what strategies would I then use to actually invest in those people? And most people don't think about that. They think about their marketing budget purely going to new business. So they'll waste it on bigger adverts, bigger campaigns, which, we know in marketing that's quite expensive because we're trying to get people to know, like, and trust us before they even buy from us. Whereas spending some money at this level, up here, I lost my mouse. Up here, okay, actually has a better return on investment because we've already got that know, like, and trust. So what we've got to do then is really be clear. We can't just say, look, we want better customer service. I want more customers. We've got to start getting specific on how this breaks down and actually leads to the goals, the financial goals that we're after. Again, the more specific we can be, the more focused we can be on what we need to do to actually achieve that. So, any questions on that? I know it's a bit of a new concept for most people, but can you see the logic behind that? Just take yourself off to mute if you want to ask any questions around the have side of things. No? Okay.
I've got a question, Kevin. So if we were to do something to boost figures in the existing clients, we've got a system, if you like, an operations, sales and marketing and operations system set up for processing big kitchens. That's what we're all going to do, and we all have jobs to do. Isn't there a danger that in trying to get the few hundred extra quid from one client because you can do something, that you're actually creating extra work in terms of operations that cancels out the value of the profit of what you're trying, it cancels out the profit, because let's just say it was a kitchen service that you were trying to do for an existing client as an extra thing. You'd actually go and have to get more resources to do that. So I'm just trying to work out practically how we could increase on existing clients who have a kitchen already without new clients. Or are you saying that those existing clients refer, and therefore anything that comes from them is counted as separate to a new client?
Yeah, I think there are two things. One is there is an upsell opportunity. Once a client has bought something, there is always an opportunity to upsell. So if I use a bit of an example, if I let's say I'm going to go and buy a suit. Okay, so I go into Moss Bros or wherever I go and buy my suit from, and I've got a budget of 500 quid for a suit. Yeah, so I talk to the salesperson. I'm in there. We've got good rapport. I'm probably going to buy my suit from them, and they sell me a suit for £500. Yeah, they could just take my £500, give them a suit, and let me go. But the wise salesperson knows that I've not actually come in here for a suit, have I? What have I come in for?
An appearance that makes your image, makes you feel good.
There'd be an image. There'll be a purpose for my suit. Now, would it be a job? It could be a job interview. It could be a wedding. It could be a funeral. It could be, there'll be a reason why I'm buying a suit. Now, a good salesperson is going to build that rapport and relationship with me, and we do that in the sales mastery workshop about asking questions and what the emotion is behind the suit. Okay, and then would actually add in there, look, I've already sold you a £500 suit, so if I can enhance your experience, so let's say it was for a wedding, so have you got a shirt to go with that? What sort of shirt have you got? Well, this type of suit goes with this type of shirt. Would you like to have a look at a couple more shirts? What about the tie? What about the socks? What about the shoes? What about, are you carrying anything? What about the man bag? What about a handkerchief? What about a pair of sunglasses? What about a hat? What about? So because you understand the need for that client, what they're looking for, you're in a position then to look for other opportunities to enhance their buying process. Not sell them things they don't need, but sell them things that actually, once I've spent £500, would I spend another 20 quid on a shirt? Would I spend another £15 on a tie? Would I spend another £50 on a pair of shoes? In relation to what I've already bought, probably yes. Now, if I don't make any money on the ties and the shoes, then I shouldn't be selling them. But that's more of an operational margin aspect, that you only sell stuff that you're going to make money on. So going back, relaying that to a kitchen would be very much about the added value items that you can build into the kitchen. Now, I know you guys do that a lot when you're speccing it out anyway. The danger is you take people over their budget, and then suddenly, oh God, I can't afford this now. So you've got to be very careful where you sort of play this with understanding what their needs is, why they want it, and is the budget that they say they've got, is that actual the budget, or is that the lower end, or is that the higher end? And that's where the sales techniques of understanding the need come in, and you're questioning to get to that level. Okay, so for you, beyond the upsell, cross sell, the challenge.
By the way, I love that question, Kevin. That's a great question. Is that the lower end or the higher end? That's a great one for us to retain.
Yeah.
Because when people do give you a budget, all of us as humans are thinking one of those ends of things. We're either ashamed that we haven't got enough and it's our top, or we're cagey about giving it and it's the bottom. That's a great question. Thank you.
Yeah. Because the worst thing you can do in sales is assume. If you start assuming, then you get it. You as they say, you make an ass out of you and me. And that's why questions, questions, having a script to dig into the detail, to find the emotion. Yeah, and that's we cover that in the sales mastery workshop. So coming back to this is for a business like kitchens, next year somebody's unlikely to come back and buy another kitchen. Once you've got one, you're probably not going to buy another one for a few years. For people like Neil, in training, in that support side, they should be coming back and buying stuff next year. For Gary, for what you're doing, for Jamie, for what you're doing, we should be coming out and buying again and again and again. So what we've got to do, if we're coming back and buying again, then we need to spend some time, go back to that 80-20, but also the budget on actually making sure those people do come back. And when they do come back, we go through the same process. Is it a transaction you're just buying because you have no other option, or are there opportunities here to upsell and cross-sell? And what happens is we're so convinced that we've got to be down here looking for new business, we forget that we've got to be working up here as well. And my mouse seems to have died, so. Okay. Any other questions? There's a good point there. So, Sophie, was that you've just appeared on my screen? Was that to ask a question or?
No, I just thought I'd turn my video on for you so you didn't feel like.
It's nice when you have a video because I can see whether you're falling asleep or you sort of disappeared completely. So clarity around the goals, number one. Now we've got to look at, right, who do we need to be? What is that knowledge that we need? So some of the things that can hold us back on this are our negative beliefs. We can believe certain things that really hold us back. So some of the negative beliefs we can have is around customers. So just in the chat box, I like to put some negative beliefs that will have sprung up in your mind at some stage around customers. So what are some negative thoughts that you may have had or other people may have had about customers? Oh, there's lots of them on this. Have to catch up here. Too detailed. Yeah. So always screwing down on price. Yeah. Customers love to complain. Is that don't commit or don't comment? So probably commit. Clients won't pay for the design, so they don't value what you're doing. Yeah, want too much, take up a lot of time. Customers going to be a pain in the ass, demanding, unrealistic, needy, backstabbers, don't want to pay full price. Yeah, excellent. Okay, I think we get the point there. Now, if I said the same question, and we do this in the sales workshop, if I said the same question to a customer about salespeople, do you think they would come up with an equal number of negative beliefs around salespeople? Yeah. Okay, so in the back of their mind, they've got all their negative thoughts about salespeople. In the back of your mind, you've got all the negative thoughts about customers. Now, what we've got to do is sort of check in, because those negative thoughts can actually hold us back. If we think customers are a pain in the arse and we base our customer beliefs, if I go back to if you remember back to the ABCD grade, if I'm spending all of my time and effort on C's and D's, yeah, then my view of my customers is going to be of C and D level. and therefore my desire to actually go and spend more time with customers or work with them is going to be diminished. And I think this is probably more of a challenge where you've got teams of customer service people, if they're constantly dealing with the rubbish clients, yeah, all the problems that go on, and then you ask them to actually go and make contact with more customers, you know, and talk to customers and see if they can get more sales out of them, you're going to find that quite hard. So sometimes I think it's good to think about either doing it on different days. So don't do it on a day where you're dealing with customer problems. Yeah, so you're not tainted by the rubbish that's happening that day. If you've got sales teams, have two teams. One does the proactive customer service stuff and one does the reactive customer service stuff. Otherwise, you can get yourself caught between, oh God, I really don't want to talk to these people. So our beliefs around the customers will hold us back. Okay, so really think about the, you know, those beliefs of, are they helping us? You know, are they motivating us? Are they giving us energy to talk to our customers? Or are we, if we're not doing it, then chances are there's some negative beliefs that are actually holding us back. What's another negative belief that we could have, not necessarily about customers themselves, but negative belief that could hold us back from pursuing this strategy? Dave, what would be one of yours?
I don't know, Kevin. What would you do? How would you say a negative? What would be a negative customer? Because we have a positive and negative. We have good days and bad days.
Yeah, so I was thinking of not necessarily about the customer. So treat the customer as neutral. What would be an excuse, let's say, then, of why we don't pursue this strategy of actually communicating, talking more to our existing client base?
I think it's from sounding pushy.
Sounding pushy.
Don't want to be the pushy salesman.
Yep. Great. So so that's a little bit of the sales thing. You know, I don't want to keep contacting them because, you know, I might sound pushy. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, desperate's another one. You know, we also get the point where we only get the work if our client gets the work.
Yeah.
You don't want to be chasing them to say, give me. And they're sat there at the end of the phone going, well, I haven't got anything for you. They're telling the truth. They're struggling as much as everyone else is. Yeah,
good. Yeah, that's a good one. So, you know, we're thinking about, oh, I spoke to them last month and I don't really want to speak to them again.
Yep.
Cool. What about another one? What would you say is the most common one I hear? Most common excuse for not doing this?
Too busy.
Time. Sorry, Harriet?
Too busy.
Too busy. Yeah, too busy. I'm too busy, too much time, not enough time. Okay, so if we're getting that belief of too much time, not enough time, or I think your one's equally valid, Dave, you know, that, perhaps, you know, I don't want to sort of pester them, then you've got to question that and say, okay, so if I did have enough time, what would I do? Yeah, and how would I do it that would seem that it wasn't pestering them? See, the key with pestering means that it's unwanted attention. Okay, hands up here who wants unwanted attention. Nobody wants unwanted attention. Who here likes a bit of attention? Yeah, we all like a bit of attention. So, so again, it's about finding, you know, well, what would come across as nice attention and a reason why I should be in contact, yeah, as opposed to something that's going to be pestering. And I think email is a great example of this. You know, Neil, if I emailed you 3 times a day every day, yeah, with, you know, do you want to buy some more stuff? Do you want to buy some more stuff? Do you want to buy some more stuff?
Delete, 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 delete.
You're going to get a bit fed up, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I didn't email you at all, yeah, then, yeah, how am I going to know when you do need me? So I need to find that right balance, that it's not too much attention, but is just the right amount of attention. And the other thing is, no one wants to be sort of asked, yeah, do you want to buy from me? Do you want to buy from me? But they will accept some useful information. Okay, so if you can add value to, if I could add value to you by email 3 times a day, yeah, you'd be grateful for that. If every email I sent was adding value, you said, yeah, this is great, this is great, this is great. 3 times a day I get added value from Kevin. That's fantastic. Yeah. So if we are to keep in contact, we've got to be thinking, am I adding value? Am I making their life better from my communication? Yeah. And almost you've got to put yourself in their shoe. If I got this 3 times a day, how would I feel? Okay. And I guarantee a lot of stuff that you're doing, yeah, you'd actually think, actually, I wouldn't read it. Or I'd be a bit peed off. Now, the unfortunate thing with email is you don't, you know, often it's done, it's automatic. I just signed up to a particular sort of site, and I got, I think, 12 emails in the space of an hour. And there was 3 emails, and they were repeated, I think, 3 or 4 times. And it was like, you know, and now it might have been an automated issue. So I did email them and say, look, I think you might have put me on here 12 times and yeah, duplicated my details. But if that continues, then I'll be unsubscribing. I'm out of there. Okay, so everything that we send, we've got to be thinking, is this adding value? Yeah. If I use that I don't have enough time, then I've got to overcome that, because this is important. And you know, and that's why I've got to put enough time and money resource into it as well. So if I haven't got the time, I've got to spend some money on it. If I don't have the money, I've got to spend some time on it. So it's got to be one or the other. So that's really about our negative beliefs. So if we've got a positive belief and we believe that we can get more of our existing clients, we know what our target is, we know what we're going to go after, we've set our goals, we understand how it's broken down, we understand the type of clients that we're after. Now we can work on what do we actually need to do to make this happen. So this is what we call the ladder of loyalty. So this is the journey that customers are on when they start with us, or even before they start with us. So they start down the bottom. So they start as a suspect. So we do our marketing out to a bunch of people or an advert or a particular area where we suspect they have a need for our products and service. And we want to turn them from a suspect into a prospect. And that process, that lead generation process, is marketing. Okay, so that's what we put out there in our adverts, in our cold emails. All of that stuff is all just marketing. It's turning suspects into prospects. Once we get a prospect and we want to turn them into a shopper, that's our conversion strategy. So we're now converting them from one to another. Where we take on from where this workshop is looking is this transition from shopper to customer. So that's, I've bought from you once, I've trialed you, I've had a go with you, into a repeat business client. So now I buy from you on a regular basis. But if you think about a shopper, how much loyalty, Sophie, has a shopper with where they shop?
Not a lot.
No, none. Okay, so imagine I'm going shopping for a Mars bar. Okay, so I go into a corner store and I buy a Mars bar, hand over money, walk out with a Mars bar. How much loyalty have I got with that corner shop about always buying my Mars bars from that corner shop?
0.
No. Okay, it's a transactional thing. It's just a transaction. I've bought this, you've satisfied my need. Now, to get me to become a customer, there's got to be a deeper level of connection. There's got to be a reason why I come to you. Okay, so again, if I was a corner shop, give me some emotional reasons, Sophie, why I would come back just to that corner shop to buy my Mars bar.
You always have a hilarious conversation, a welcome hello. You find out about their family. They're a real chatty person.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm treated well. There are other ones. So what else could be another reason why I become a customer? Because you are moving a little bit up there into membership here.
Local.
Convenience. Okay. Again, it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more emotional, but it's still on the logical reason. The reason I shop there logically is because, yeah, it's easy. Okay, it's on my way to work. It's, you know, but if another corner shop opened that's easier, yeah, then I would probably go there.
Yeah, or it might be to do with a second factor like price or
price. Yeah, yeah, and that's where shoppers and customers generally you lose them because they go somewhere else because it's cheaper. It's either cheaper or more convenient. Once you get to a member, now I feel part of the business. I have a connection. There's an emotional attachment for me to that business. Yeah. At this point, if I can get it cheaper or easier somewhere else, do I go somewhere else? No.
Probably
Not
Okay.
necessarily.
It's going to be harder for me to. So you know, for me, you know, getting my hair cut. You know, my hairdresser is when I started was the hairdresser down the road. Okay, it was a 2-minute walk from my house down to the hairdressers. I now travel 45 minutes, yeah, along the motorway to go and get my hair cut from the same guy. Why? Because I have a connection with him. Because, you know, he knows me. You know, he's cut my hair for ages. We have a sort of a client barber relationship, and therefore for me, you know, it's worth that travel, that distance. Yeah, and I've had, you know, you probably know, you know, might be the same for you, but one of my mates, you know, he still travels to London to actually get his hair cut. I was playing golf with a guy out in Spain. He's Colombian. He goes back to Colombia to get his hair cut. He flies to Colombia to get his hair cut. His mother, and his mother was in Dubai for a number of years, and she used to fly her hairdresser out to Dubai to cut her hair. Now that isn't convenience, that isn't price, that is because it's mental. But if you go back to the hairdresser, does he look after his A-grade clients? Yeah. Of course he does. You know, that's what he wants. He wants those clients, and he builds a real great relationship with them so that they are up at this level, this membership. I feel part of the club. Therefore, I'm very unlikely to leave. Now, if we get them to the membership level, yeah, then our next job is to turn them into the advocate level. Because an advocate now is going to start generating us leads. Okay, we'll start actually getting business to us. Now, the difference between an advocate and a raving fan is an advocate we have to ask. So we'll ask them, can you refer us, or do you know somebody, or we might have to incentivize them to actually bring us business. A raving fan does it off their own back. Okay, that's the differential. Now, certainly in England, you know, the percentage, the split between raving fans and advocates is probably more than yeah, or less than 10, 1 to 10. So of all the people that refer, you'll have about 1%, 1% to 10% will be raving fans. The majority are going to be the advocate. So if you're sitting there going, well, I do a really great job and everyone loves me, etc., but no one gives me referrals, yeah, it's just that's the way it is. And therefore, you've got to understand that you've got to do work here to actually work with the advocates to actually help them to refer work to you. It's not going to come naturally. If you're lucky, you'll get 1 or 2 raving fans, and you really look after those guys because they do a lot of the work for you. Hello, welcome back. Don't know what happened there. Can you all hear me again?
Yeah.
I've been having a few issues today with broadband and things. You've all disappeared down to a tiny few. Back there. There we go. I think that's everybody. So an advocate, we need to ask, we need to work with, we need to spend time, effort, and money. Raving fans will do the work, but again, we need to thank them, reward them, keep them in the raving fan group. Now, one of my clients, online business, we have a slightly higher percentage of raving fans. So we've basically put those guys into their own club. So we have a club for these people. Okay, so we have we have a VIP club here, and I'll come back to that in a second. Things working today. Come on, pen. We have a VIP club up here. Okay, and these people here know about the VIP club. So
you haven't got the presentation up. I don't know if all I can see is the actual order of the slides, not the one you're probably talking about.
Okay. Apologies. I'll see all the slides, do you? Otherwise, the mouse isn't working.
Away. What's coming next?
The mouse isn't working. So that's the one you want, isn't it? Is that better? What have you got now?
Hey.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's gone again.
Gone.
Let's try again. Screen 2. Have we got the ladder?
Not yet.
Yep.
There we go.
Come on, Zoom, get your act together. So the raving fans, we create a VIP club for them. Yeah, and these people know about the VIP club, so there should be an aspiration for them to come up here. For these, we treat them well, so they're in their own club. They take a bit more work to actually get them to actually refer work to us. So again, what we've got to look at is not only our A, B, C, D grade clients, but we also want to almost categorize our clients into, where are they? Are they shoppers? Are they customers? Are they members? Are they in the advocate raving fan band? And how do we move them up? What is our strategy to move these people from here to here? Okay, and we've got to spend time, effort, and some money to actually achieve that. Any questions on that? Anything that's we call it in Action Coach, we call things that sort of hit you in the eyes a blinding flash of the obvious, a BFO. Okay, so are there any sort of head slap moments from that? No? Cool. Okay, good. So in order to move people up, there's a guy called Ron Kaufman. So guy down that right-hand corner. He's a customer service guru. He's written a number of books. One of his best is Up Your Service. and he has worked with the likes of Singapore Airways, who have been the #1 customer service or best loved airline for the past 6 years or something like that. So yeah, he understands what it takes to really create raving fans and high level service. And he looked at it the same thing, but in a slightly different way, okay, about the service that we give to get people to become raving fans. And he said there's 6 levels. The first level of service is what he calls a criminal level. So we'll use a bit of an analogy here. So if we were a taxi firm, okay, and I was given a criminal level of customer service, Morgan, can you unmute yourself, Morgan? I'll pick on Morgan down the bottom of my screen.
Yeah.
Hi, Morgan. So if I was a taxi service and I was given a criminal level of customer service, yeah, what would I be doing?
Not a very.
So what would my taxi be doing? Oh, I lost you again away. Hello. Oh, we're back again. Hello.
Hi. I don't know if my my computer went a bit funny.
No, I think it's my computer, Morgan. It's not been well today. Yeah, I can hear you now. So if I was doing a criminal level of customer service and I was a taxi driver, what would I be doing?
Not providing a very good service.
It's a bit worse than that, isn't it? I'm a criminal. So I've just driven up. I'm going to give you a criminal level service. I'd ask you for the money. Yeah. And then I'd speed off, wouldn't I?
Mm.
Okay, so I take your money and I give you nothing. Yeah. And there are businesses out there that, you know, that's their strategy, you know. They tend not to last long. They you know, you see these people on Road Traders all the time. Okay, but we don't do that, do we? So none of us here are doing criminal level of service. So if I was now a basic level of taxi driver, okay, so I'm not criminal, I'm not just going to take your money and drive off, but I do a basic level of taxi driving. What would I now be doing, Morgan?
I guess, like engaging with them more.
So this is just basic. Okay, so I'm just going to get you from A to B. So what state would my taxi be in?
Okay, I guess.
Just okay. It might just have an MOT. Yeah. Is it going to be really clean inside?
No.
No. Yeah. How much care and attention will I put on my taxi if I'm given a basic level?
Not much.
Not much. Okay. I'll get you. You know, you've paid to go from A to B, and I will get you to A to B. I won't talk to you. I won't put any effort in. I won't say thank you. You know, it is purely a transactional relationship that we have. Now, are you going to come back and use me again?
No.
No. Okay. Think about Uber. You know, the whole Uber sort of, you know, experience has been based on people rating the taxi drivers based on the experience. And if you got 1, 2 stars because you were rude, obnoxious, your car was a mess, yeah, then when you came up on the list, people will just skip over you and go somewhere else. That's the beauty of their system. So now I'm going to provide an expected level of service. So Pete, I'm going to pick on Pete this time. Pete.
Yeah.
So expected level of customer service now. How is that different to a basic?
and expected, the customer has the level that they expect you to do, so you're meant to be meeting that, aren't you?
So what would that be like in terms of a taxi?
Okay, so yeah, you pick up, deliver the person to where they've got to go, and have a basic level of conversation, maybe.
Yeah, basic level of conversation. It would be, yeah, my car would be, yeah, it'd probably be clean and tidy. I'd expect to get in a clean and tidy, taxi, and it would be okay. So this really, is okay. Give up my equipment today. So this is okay. This will sort of this is more like this is bad. Okay, so if I was getting criminal, would I go on to Google reviews and talk about it?
Well, you wouldn't want to.
Yeah. I mean, at this level, this is basically going to the police or rogue traders. Yeah, I will shout about this one. This one, I'll probably, and I would definitely give a bad review. This level here, I possibly will give a bad review. Yeah, here, no reviews. I won't even take the time. It's not worth my effort to actually give a review if it's just an expected level of service. So if I move now up to a desired level of customer service, so again, now a desired level within my taxi, how's that now different from expected?
Something you were hoping for, didn't expect, so kind of like better than you expected.
Yeah, so I think that's good. Yeah, hoping for, oh, that's nice. Okay, maybe I wasn't expecting that. So if a taxi turns up, and I was expecting a Mondeo, and they turned up in a Mercedes, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's, I went over to LA once, and I was picked up in a stretch limo.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, that was, if you think about that, now was I desiring that? It's potentially at the next level, which we'll come on to, but it was certainly, that's, yeah, I'd love to have that level of service. So it's just that there's a bit of effort gone into this, a bit of thought gone into this. Okay, it's not massive, but it's something that, I would, there's a bit of aspiration. It's from my perspective, I would aspire to be driven in a nicer car. Okay, so this is a bit better than okay. It's a bit better than, there's a bit of thought goes in here. The reality of this is you still get no reviews. Because if I desire it, then you're only really meeting my expectations. But they're expectations that I might not have shared, but you're at the top end of my expectations. I'm still not going to give you any reviews, and I'm still not going to give you any referrals. And this is where most people are in here. We're meeting customers' expectations and potentially what they desire. We're wondering why we don't get any referrals and we don't get any reviews. We don't get the negative reviews, which we would get down here. We're not getting positive reviews. So we've got to push this a little bit further to the next level. I've got my mouse back. That was exact. So we want to move into the surprising level. Okay, so now obviously surprising is something that I wasn't expecting. It's not, I wasn't expecting it, and it's a little bit outside of my desire. So if I was a taxi driver now then, Harriet, what would be a surprising level of customer service?
So something, a really fancy car, leather interior.
Yeah, I'd still put those in desired. You know, if I could still think that if I was in a car,
driver that goes over the top to make you feel comfortable, feeding rounds of conversation.
yeah, I'm still not. I wouldn't be going to my mates saying, you know, do you know what? I got a taxi. You know, go back to the stretch limo. You know, that was surprising. You know, I was going from the airport to a hotel, and they turned. You know, they turned up in a limo. So it was surprising because, you know, I definitely wasn't expecting that. I was desiring a nice car, but it was one above a nice car. Okay. What else would have been surprising about it? What would be in the back of the car?
Alcohol.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'd got in there and there was a bottle of champagne for me, then that would definitely be surprising. I definitely wasn't expecting that. That's really good. Now, would I talk about that to other people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd start now. So now we're in the positive reviews, and we're now into referral levels. So we're now into the, I was not expecting that. It's over and above. And often this in here has nothing to do with the service you're providing. See, up to here, this is all about the taxi. This here is about the feeling. This is about the champagne. Nothing to do with taxi. This is, you know, I didn't pay for the champagne. I didn't pay for that warm, glowing feeling. You know, I paid for the service up to here. This is what I've paid for. Yeah. And this is over and above what I've paid for.
Like the added bonuses.
Yeah. So often we call these are called CNEs, critical non-essentials. Things that are non-essential for the transaction are critical for the relationship. There's a guy called Paddy Lund who built a very successful dental practice in Australia, and it was a referral only dental practice. So he didn't do any marketing at all. He said, I'm not going to do any marketing. It's purely going to be on referrals. Okay, and he managed to build. It was a multi-site practice, one of the most profitable dental practices in Australia, charged way over anybody else they were charging. Yeah, but everything he did was around this. So when you went into his surgery, yeah, when you go into a dental surgery, what's the first smell that you get?
Chemical, antiseptic,
isn't it? Yeah, he knew that. So when you go in, does that make you feel all nice and calm and wanting to go to a dental surgery? No. Okay, so he made sure that when you went into his surgery, you could smell fresh ground coffee and fresh baked cakes. Yeah, would that be surprising? You go into a dental surgery and all you can smell is coffee and fresh cakes. Yeah, of course it would be surprising. Has it got anything to do with teeth? Yeah, and dental hygiene? No. They were sugar-free cakes.
How it's going to rot your teeth.
Sorry?
How it's going to rot your teeth.
No, they were sugar-free. They were good for you. So and when you went in, you know, when you go into a normal dental surgery, where do you sit?
Waiting room.
Waiting room. Yeah, and what can you hear?
Oh, the drill.
People
All the
screaming.
drills elsewhere, along with screaming kids and everything else. So when you went into his dental practice, yeah, you entered your own room. So you had your own private waiting room with music playing, and if he could, it would be your favourite music. What magazines were on the table?
Women's Weekly.
Yeah, it's 5-year-old, I don't know, Town and Country or something like that.
Yeah.
Magazine.
Yeah. So what magazines were in his waiting room?
The newest ones?
The newest ones and ones that
Oh, the customer likes.
the customer likes. So I'd go in there and it would have to be, you know, cars, motorbikes or golf. Yeah, not something that was 15 years old Women's Weekly. You know, I'll read it because, you know, it's better than looking at the bloody other people in the surgery. But at this level, you know, we're looking at, this takes time, it takes thought, it takes a way to capture that information. It doesn't just happen. You've got to put some effort into it to make it happen. Okay, so he was able to build this surprising level, this wow level. And the ultimate aim is where you get the Raving Fans is an amazing level of customer service. So this really is, you know, wow with knobs on. This is stuff that, you know, you couldn't help talk to somebody about it. Okay, and at this level, you know, you're looking, you know, sometimes you're looking at sort of, you know, just crazy things. So again, if you think about a taxi, Harriet, what would be above surprising and in the amazing level? So let's say it was.
No, you'd be pretty limited in a taxi as to what you could do.
Well, let's say this was sort of, you know, a nice. This was a you know, Mercedes, yeah. So Merc, yeah. This was a limo, champagne, yeah. What would this be?
Helicopter and hamper.
I mean, if I paid for a car and it was a helicopter, then that would be, yeah. Okay, but we've got to have a little sense of realism with the making money out of this. But the champagne would be my favourite champagne.
Right. Okay.
Okay, the flowers will be my favourite flowers. It will be something. So at this level, this is really personal. So that's why I say with Paddy Lund, you know, it wasn't just the latest copy of Top Gear magazine. You know, it was the magazine that I would like to read. So in our first consultation, what questions are he asking me while he's drilling my teeth? Oh, Kevin, what are you into? You know, what do you like? You know, where do you go on your holidays? Oh, I love motorbikes. I love, you know, golf. Oh, fantastic. That's great. You know, that information gets logged in the system. Yeah. And from that, it goes through. There's a system then that delivers the wow at the next visit. The problem, the big problem with this is that this isn't a ladder. Okay. It's an escalator. And this is always going down. So today's amazing, tomorrow's surprising. It's next month's desired. It's next year's expected. It's 3 years basic. So we've always got to be understanding that just because it was surprising now, in a year's time, 2 years' time, it may not be surprising then. We might need to reinvent it, push it forwards. Go back to, and this is where you go back to Singapore Airlines. And the airline industry is just, you know, it's this personified. You think about first class travel 10 years ago, and now what does it include? What's the latest thing they put into planes? You know, do you remember planes, the things you used to get into and fly places? You might remember them.
They sort of like the pods, are they individual sort of seating areas and all that?
Yeah, so that was last year's amazing. So what's this year's amazing?
The fact that they don't fly.
But before the COVID and when they were flying, they brought in showers. Yeah, I remember when Virgin had the first bar. You know, we remember in the first class you could actually go and sit in the bar. You know, that was amazing back then. Well, it's a bit old hat now. Okay, so we just got, while we're trying to do that, you do have to remember that this is not, it's not a staircase, it's an escalator. It's always going down. So you've always got to be looking, are we still doing surprising? Are we still doing amazing? Just because it was surprising, amazing 5 years ago may not be now. So we want to be, coming back to not on a weekly basis. This is once a year, once every 2-3 years. We need to revisit it and revamp it and push it forwards. Okay, so we've got to look at our customer service. Again, once we know our client base, if our clients are all shoppers, and that's where they are, there's no point in putting this in because they're shoppers. They won't appreciate this stuff. Yeah, so you've got to bear in mind where they are in that process first. Don't do this for your C's and D's because you're just wasting time, effort, and money. Those people will never refer work to you. So you've got to do that bit first, then you move towards what we want to do here. You're all frozen again. Hello? What is wrong with my internet? Are we back in the room?
We are. We're not sure about you, mate.
Oh, this is terrible. It's the worst day it's ever been. So I'm going to have to go back to the office and get some decent broadband, I think. So that's the move up here, okay? And by doing that, we then can create this referral program, a way to then harvest the referrals from those people that are at that top. If we ask for referrals and they're not in that level, then we're probably not going to get them. Yeah, it's when we've done exceptional stuff is when we're in the best chance of actually getting a referral from a client. So we really got to be thinking about where we go, what we need to achieve next. So to think about, how are we going to ask people? How are we going to collate those referrals? What is the strategy to actually achieve that? Okay, and again, it does depend on the product and service you do, whether you're B2C, B2B. They will always be slightly different, but you need a really clear strategy and somebody who owns it and actually applies it. Because the danger with a lot of us, because we run small businesses, is again we go back to what we talked with Dave, was the time factor. We don't have the time to do this. We don't have the time to spend, asking for referrals. Yet we will spend lots of money and time on lead generation and marketing. We've got to see this as equally important. And think about that VIP club. If you did have a VIP club, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be an official VIP club, but you're starting to think, if I did have a VIP club, who would be in it, and what would it consist of? Now, obviously, COVID has caused a bit of an issue with this. Certainly, if you're a face-to-face type business, but we won't be in this for long. We will be coming out of it. For me, the VIP club has always been, having social events. getting people together, sort of going to sort of nice hotels, eating food. That's the bit that's always worked for me within that sort of that social side of things. But if you treat your top clients extremely well, then that in itself will come as surprising and amazing, and also use it to actually attract other potential referrals. So you can link the two. So say for me, it was about bringing, I know, Keith and Helen have done that a couple of times. We've done a dinner, brought some clients along. Who do you know that is like this that you could bring along as well? Okay, so use it, make it easy for people to refer to. I think that's one of the key things. Is sometimes we make it difficult. Oh, do you know anybody that wants this? Well, that's not really easy for you. Okay, if you can be more specific. I know a few of us have do BNI, the Business Network International, and they say whenever you're asking for referrals, be as specific as you can. The more specific you can be, the easier it is for people to find somebody for you. Okay, so I'll give a bit of a demonstration on this. So who haven't I picked? Angela, are you there, Angela?
Yes,
Hi, Angela. Hi there. So if I said to you, can you refer me to somebody?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. Okay. So yes, you'd say, well, I do know people. So if I said, okay, Angela, could you refer to me? I'll keep it with my business. So if I said, could you refer me to business owners? Yeah, that helps a little bit, doesn't it?
Yes, narrowing it down.
So if I said, I'm really interested in business owners in their sort of late 50s into their 60s.
Yep.
Does that narrow it down a little bit more for you?
Yep.
Okay. So if I said 50s and 60s that live in Winchester.
Yep. Even better.
Even better. Okay. So if I said business owners that have more than 10 employees.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Getting
so
a bit narrower now.
Sorry.
It's getting a bit narrower now.
A bit narrower now. Okay. So how many are you visualizing in your sort of pool of people at the moment? Are we down to under 10?
Yeah.
Under 10. Okay. So I would need to probably find now an industry, wouldn't I? So just to help me, what sort of industries are in that pool of 10?
Well, the ones that are coming to mind for me are architects.
Architects. Okay. So I could say architects in their 50s, in Winchester with more than 10 people. So am I down to sort of 2 or 3 now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if I said, if I actually could say that, and you could now visualize 2 or 3 people, you're going to be more inclined to actually be able to refer those people to me. Whereas when I said, can you refer me refer me to somebody, you went yes, but your brain just then went, oh, there's too many people, and therefore it shuts down and doesn't bother.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly easier to sort of like send it a quick email back to you with just 2 or 3 contacts as opposed to 10 or 20.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if we're at this sort of stage and you've got 2 or 3, what's your next question that's going on in your head? So you've said, yes, I could refer you to those 3 architects in their 50s in Winchester, but there'll be a little question, a little piece of doubt in your mind. What is it you're after? How would I best talk to those people?
What do you want from it for me to be able?
Okay, because you're thinking of 1,000,001 things. Your mind isn't on selling my business to these people. So I would need to help you with, well, actually, if you could just say this, or if you could just send them this, or if you could just introduce in this way. So if I can do all your work for you. So if I said to you, Angela, look, that's fantastic. There's 3 of those. If I can send you an email to send to them, that would introduce me, would you be happy to do that for me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So now I've got 3 people that I can send you an email as an introduction to those 3 architects. Yeah. And suddenly I've turned, you're not a raving fan, because if you were, you would have gone to them shouting, oh, you're going to see Kevin, he's fantastic and he's changed my life and things like that. Yeah, but you're an advocate. So if I ask you and I help you and I give you a method to actually do it, then, there's a good chance that you will.
Yes, definitely. And
Okay.
it's about not being afraid to ask.
Exactly. It's not afraid to ask, but also you've got to help them to do it. You've got to help them to narrow it down, because if you go in there with, oh, can you refer me to some people? Well, they'll say yes. They're not going to turn around and say no. Yeah, they'll say yes, but you'll be waiting forever. And then they'll get embarrassed. Oh, yeah, I was going to do something about that. And they'll get embarrassed. So when you ask again, they'll ignore your comments, because they don't want to tell you, no, I'm not going to refer, because they like you and you've done a good job for them. Okay, so you've got to make it easy for people, as easy as possible for people to refer to you. Yeah, and I know the one that we've done for you guys has been the dinners. So when we could have dinners, you'd invite your clients along and get them to invite one of their friends along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you know two people that you could invite to dinner on us? Yes, I do. Okay, great. We'd like them to be of this demographic, in this income band, and potentially wanting to have a new kitchen in the next year or so, rather than just invite your mother along.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on my computer? Teams has suddenly woken up and just taken over. Okay, so we've got to be thinking, it goes back to really our previous slide. Yeah, is that referral program, that referral strategy? What's it going to be? Make it easy for the people to refer. Use the VIP club as a way. That can be a way to, if you've got members in it, then hopefully, if it's a great club to be in, they will want other people to be in their club with them. So the other thing to think about within this, because we are looking at average transaction, number of transactions and average transaction value, is the power of discounting. Now, I'm not averse to discounting when we are buying a new client. So if I'm going to discount to buy my first client, who's then going to buy from me for the next 5 years, I don't have an issue with discounting. We do not discount to existing clients. Okay, because we use a discount sometimes to break down a resistance to buy from us. It's what I call the piece of cheese. Well, give us a try. Be a shopper. To get you onto the ladder, discounts are fine. Once we're on the ladder, then be very careful about discounts, mainly because of the cost that they cost you. So if we look at this, okay, so if we take and let's say you have to do your own numbers on this. If we take I would say a typical business, but we take a business that has a margin up here of 30%, so a gross profit margin of 30%, and we give a 10% discount, you have to sell 50% more goods in order to make the same amount of money. Okay, 30% margin. If we give a 10% discount, we have to sell 50% more goods. Now, I know some of you be looking at that and going, I don't get that. Yeah, I don't see how that works. So let me show you the numbers. If we were selling 10 units at £10, that would be £100 of sales, and they cost us £7. So our cost of 7 times 10 is 70. Our margin would be 30. So that's 30%. Okay. If I discount the 100 by 10, my cost unit stays the same. For my total cost stay the same, and therefore my profit is now 20. So I would need to increase my number of units to 15, so 50% increase, in order to sell at 9 at 135, yeah, to make £30 profit. So when we start discounting to our existing clients, we are just burning money, and we have to fill our pot with more clients, more sales, in order just to stand still. So we've got to look at this and say, look, we can discount. I don't mind doing that to buy a client for the first time, but the ongoing value has got to be there year on year on year on year in order to claw that back. With our existing clients, we should not discount. In fact, what we need to do is actually increase our prices. Because if you think discounting has that big effect, increasing our prices has an equal and opposite effect. But what is the number one reason we don't increase our prices?
Right, you might turn people away and people stop buying from you. Fear.
A fear. Yeah, we fear that if we put our prices up, our customers are going to disappear. Now, if our customers are all shoppers and customers, there might be a good chance of that. Okay, if they're only transactional, if there's no relationship, then they may well do that. You've all frozen again, haven't you? Oh no, you're back. I'm never sure when people sort of stop moving. I think you just got to keep moving, then I know that you're still there. So.
Can you hear me, Kevin?
Yeah.
I was just saying, if they're an existing client, then they've already sold, or they're already sold with you, so you shouldn't have to discount with them anyway, because they're going to come back.
Correct. Yep. So if they're already a client, then don't discount. Yeah, I know you guys don't discount really anyway, but there are other businesses that do think about, oh well, I've got to keep discounts to keep my clients coming back. It's a bit like the DFS thing. You know, DFS are continually giving discounts. Okay, the reality is they're not. Okay, they're not giving discounts. They just overinflate their price. It's a price marketing strategy. But also with DFS, what you've got to consider is they don't have repeat business. They're constantly having to sell to new people all the time. And that's why their model is, you know, their margins are pretty darn huge, you know, which is why they can afford to do what they do. So they have quite a unique strategy in what they're trying to achieve, but they're not discounting. You know, they're just, you know, they've been brought up by the trading standards on many times that, you know, they have to prove that a price has been, or a product has been at that price somewhere. And they say, well, it was that price in the Outer Hebrides for 3 days in June. Yeah. And that's why we can now discount it. It's just rubbish. It's just yeah, a marketing ploy on that. But for most of us, you know, increasing our prices, there's a fear that if we do that, we're going to lose our clients. Okay, and there's a what we call a false expectation appearing real. So we have the expectation that we lose clients, but the reality is it's false. So let me just show you. If we increase our prices in the same way of discounting, so if our margin's 30% and we increase our prices by 10%, then we can actually lose 25% of our customers and be no worse off. So if you increase your prices by 10%, yeah, would you expect to lose a quarter of your clients? In most cases, no. Okay. In most cases, when you really think about it and do it logically, you might think, oh God, yeah, I might lose 10% of my clients. Now, if you do lose 10% of your clients on the A to D grade, where do they mostly sit?
At the bottom.
At the bottom.
At the bottom. They're generally going to be your C's and D's. They're going to be your shoppers, your customers, the people that you don't have a relationship with, that don't appreciate your value. And actually, if you lose a D grade client, you have a double whammy. Because not only do they go and stop being a pain in the arse for you, but they also go and actually pester one of your competitors and make their life hell. Okay, so it actually works twice in your favor. It buys you more time. Yeah, you get to charge higher prices to your good clients, and your bad clients have all gone to go and make your competitors' life hell. So again, same thing with that. Let's look at the numbers. So as we were, so if we now, our price is up by 10%, so we go from 10 to 11, that gives us 110. Again, cost per unit stays the same. So if we were to bring that back down to 30, we could actually reduce our number of customers from 7.5, from 10 to 7.5, a 25% reduction. We would make the same amount of money. Also think if you did lose 25% of your customers, how much more time would you gain? And if you could use that time to service more good customers that were willing to pay the higher price, then very quickly your business would be more profitable. You'll be back up to full strength. So I know in certainly in today's world where we've gone through COVID, sometimes morally it's not the right time to do it. Okay, and I appreciate that, and I'd also appreciate that for a lot of you, don't put your prices up across the board. But there should always be a price increase strategy, because at the end of the day, costs are going up all the time. They've just put the minimum wage up. They're saying that electricity is going up. The cost of fuel's going up. The cost of importing goods at the moment has gone up. If you don't have a look at your prices on a regular basis, then basically you're going to get left behind. And if you leave this 2 or 3 years, you're suddenly not going to have a 10% increase. You're going to be looking at a 20% increase. And then if you're going to be at that level, that is going to get noticed. And then you are in danger of losing clients. So a 1%, 2% increase on a regular basis is far better than a 10% increase every once in a while. Okay, and for some of you, you can build that into your pricing strategy. Prices go up on a regular basis. Okay, always got to be looking at, at the end of the day, the game of business is to make profit. It's not turnover. It's how do we make profit? If I can make more profit from fewer clients, from fewer work, then why wouldn't I do that? Any questions on those numbers? Do they make sense? Okay. Again, these are just sort of examples. The key is you've got to understand your own numbers. What are your margins? And different products and different services will have different margin levels. So it's not a case of this is one increase across everything, but look at every area of your business. And that's when we come to finance mastery. It's knowing your margins per product line, per service line. Where can I tweak one? Where will it not be noticed as much? There'll be some lines that, I've got one client is in retail food or wholesale food. There are some product lines he just can't increase the price. It is a well-known price. that if he's 1p, if it's generally it's rice and big volume items, if he's 1p more expensive than anywhere else, then he will lose business. So those lines we're very competitive on, but we look at the other lines where we can eke an extra 1 or 2% margin out of. And this company runs on a 3% net profit. Okay, so at 3% net profit, if you can make a 1% increase, that's 25% increase in your profit.
Kevin, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, please do.
Related to this. One of the situations that we have at the moment is, we do somatic and we do Alno. Somatic is a premium German and Alno is a more middle market. And we're actually considering dropping Alno because we're a number of reasons, but one of them is that it's a much more competitive market. It takes a lot of time and effort. Effectively, we're selling lower value kitchens to people that we're really pushing to where they are. And we're actually considering moving our business solely to be a premium studio without anywhere to go, which we've had for a number of years. Would a similar philosophy apply to this, where we spend more time and effort selling the higher value items rather than spending our time in the lower value items?
Yeah, so on the whole, yes. I mean, I would always do the numbers, and look at it and say, look, sometimes you gain more by leaving things behind. Other times, you do, having a choice for some people is good, but if it's attracting C and D grade clients and your conversion rate's not as good and you're taking more time, then potentially yes. You move yourself into a just a high a higher branding. I mean, my only slight thing, if I and they've had this with other luxury brands. So if I'm a Ferrari garage, okay, and I also sell Fiat, I damage the Ferrari brand because I'm selling a lesser product, because people know they understand that the Fiat is a lesser product than Ferrari. Okay, so and this was what Toyota did with their high-end stuff, that they couldn't sell the high-end stuff, so they set up Lexus, and they had to set up completely separate Lexus dealerships. They couldn't have Lexus with Toyota because the brands would undervalue each other. And again, you know more about it than I do, but within kitchens, I would guess that the perception and the understanding of the different brand price points may not be as prominent with the customer base.
No, or as clear. So therefore, the way that you treat the client and the way you handle the client, it could be quite different, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, but if you are, certainly if you are at that higher level, and don't forget, this is not necessarily just about the price point. To me, this is about margin. I might be able to make more margin on a lower price point than I do on the higher level one. So I've got one a while ago, a client that used to sell a well-known brand, and the margin on that was pretty poor. So we actually went and created our own brand product, equally as good, but we created our own brand, which we had a much higher margin on, and we could undercut the big name brands. So we were cheaper than big name brands, but our margin was much higher, and therefore, if we sold more, then we'd have a double whammy on it. So it's not always price point. To me, it's margin. Which product line, which service line do I make the most profit on? Those are the ones I shouldn't give up. Those are the ones I want to keep. Okay, so that's why it's really important. It's difficult to say which way is the right way. You've got to know your numbers on this. So that's always number one. Finance mastery always trounces any marketing strategy. So when we get to that level. We're now looking at seeing how we can really upsell and cross-sell. So we've got the customer in, as I said before with the suits, how do we sell the extra ties? How do we sell the shoes? If you go to McDonald's, when McDonald's brought in that, do you want fries with that? That one simple statement trained across all of their stores, put, I think it was something like 20% net profit on their bottom line. Because what do you think the gross profit of a box of, or an extra box of chips is?
Quite a lot. Probably only cost them a few pennies to make.
It costs nothing.
90%.
Yeah. And then they went to what did they do after the, do you want fries with that? What was their next upsell strategy?
Supersize.
Supersize. Because what's the margin on supersize? More or less than
going to be more.
The normal. It's more. It's massive. Supersize is massive. You're only looking at the cost of the actual product in it. The extra packaging, the labor to deliver it is exactly the same. Now, and that's where they focused on the money, and it was for most people it's great value. I get a Coke that's twice the size, I get chips that's twice the size, but then you've got the sort of the health issues that came in that actually you're just adding to obesity. So it wasn't a profit strategy that went wrong, why they stopped it. It was purely the bad press of actually, creating obese people. Which, if you think about it, is ridiculous because everyone has a choice. You don't have to supersize. But, unfortunately, the rules of this land are made for the ignorant people, not the intelligent people. That's the way it always is. So we've got to know what our full product list is. We've got to know what is, what we've got to offer, and we've got to educate the clients on that list. Too many people come in and say, well, I want that, and you sell them that, and then they disappear. And, then, 6 weeks later, you speak to them and they've bought this, this, and this from somebody else. Well, why did you buy that from there? Well, I didn't know you did that. So part of your process is to educate and communicate to your client base exactly what else what are the other services you can offer them. The way to do that is checklists. Take them through a process when you bring them in. What are you doing? What can we add to that? What other needs do you have? Okay, so you want to be going through that checklist of of all the different services, all the questions that you want them to ask. The questions helps you go through that. Put it into scripts, okay, so that people are trained to do this. Because the easiest way is always not to bother. And most, when you build teams, most people just want an easy life, But the thing with the McDonald's thing, they train you to say that. Do you want fries with that? Do you want to go large? The one that I don't know, any of you shop in Superdrug, do you? Do you go to Superdrug? I mean, they are well trained. I don't know if you go there. Not particularly well trained, but they are well trained, because every time you go to the store and you go to the checkout, they say, "Do you know what have you been recently?"
Yeah.
What do they say when you go to the till?
Usually, can I interest you in the perfume counter?
The perfume counter, they don't ask me the perfume counter, so, so that's good. So they actually tailor it to the people. So the perfume counter, yeah. What else?
Normally they just try to flog you whatever's lying in front of them on the till.
They've got the point of purchase extras, the little special offers. Can I interest you in a? I mean, there was hand sanitizers when COVID came in. It'll change it every week. There'll be the product to push.
If you want the store card.
The store card, excellent. Yeah. So if you've got a store card, you want a store card. Yeah. And every time you go in, it's the same. They always say that. Now, could they say it better? It's always a little bit, not ever that excited about it. They never convinced me I should have it. Okay, so maybe they need to work a little bit better on what they are trying to sell, because it's not that I wouldn't buy something, it's just they never have anything there that's actually that exciting. Okay, but they are well trained, there is a script, and they do it consistently. You know, and if they do it consistently, I'm pretty much sure it will work. Now, it might only work 1 in 10, but that's a 10% increase. Okay, so sales training, sales scripts, working at it, seeing what's working, adjusting it, improving it is always important. You know, point of sale displays. So if you are selling retail, you know, is there something else there that you can sell and attract people's attention? You know, if you say you go to the supermarkets, you know, there is nothing in a supermarket that isn't on a shelf that is not planned to be on that shelf. Okay, their stock system will actually work out the sale, pound margin per square foot. Okay, and if a product isn't achieving that square foot return, then it's moved. It's moved somewhere else. Okay, so the level of detail the big guys are doing, because that's what they've built to, is astounding. You know, their data is just amazing what they can do, and they're always monitoring that to make improvements. Now, okay, we can't go to those levels, but we can certainly think about what they do to actually come up with our own strategies around it. And then we've got to ask them what they do. So the next factor is, you know, who are you not selling to? So there will be products, certainly for the people that have repeat business, you know, and we've got clients that come back to us regularly. There'll be a number of clients that are not buying all of your products and services, and there'll be a number of services and products that you're not selling to all of your clients. And the easiest way to work this out is to do a magic matrix. So I did this with an IFA recently, mention no names, and you know, that little exercise allowed him to actually he's actually in a week sold £500,000 worth of ISAs to his existing client base in 1 week. It's the highest sale he's ever had on anything he's ever done in such a short period of time. Now, it took him about 3 months to go through the process of identifying all of his clients, what they've actually bought, where the gaps were. He could see that the majority of clients weren't buying ISAs, and therefore he made a list of all those that didn't have ISAs, and he went to them and said, look, ISAs are really great. This is why they're really great. And if you get it in by the 5th of April, then you'll benefit. And after 2 weeks, he's got amazing results from it. Okay, so if you do have multiple services, the magic matrix is a brilliant way to actually achieve that. Okay, and you just identify, say, your products are on the top, your customers down the side, and then you assess who's buying what. The next sort of, say, key strategy is keep in touch. Okay, because not everyone is ready to buy right now. Some people are going to take time to actually come back and buy from you. So if you go back to you guys with the kitchens, you know, you're not going to buy a new kitchen more than once every 5 years, 10 years, if not longer. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to want a kitchen in the future. It doesn't mean you're not going to come across somebody else that is going to want a kitchen. So by keeping in contact with these people on a regular basis is key. And as we said, you know, I was talking to Neil, you know, you've got to add value. If you don't add value in these interactions, then people will switch off. They will ignore you. And the little story, you know, best story I've ever heard on this one was a guy called Joe Girard. So he's in the Guinness Book of Record as the world's #1 car salesman. The average car salesman, I think, sells around about £300,000 worth of cars per year. I think that's something like that. So this is second-hand car salespeople. He sells 3 million. It says sells 10 times the amount of cars that anyone else sells. He does no marketing. So apart from having his, his one site, and this is a few years ago, but he has his one site in America, there was no actual marketing. All of it was based on, when you buy a car from him, you will never buy another car from anybody else. So he said, I've got to keep in touch with you every quarter, 4 times a year, because after 3 months, you have perceived indifference. So the longer I go without you hearing from me, you perceive to be indifferent to me. So that I take you up to a customer raving fan, and if every 3 months you'll drop down a level. So I haven't heard you from a year, you're back to basically shopper level. So what he did was he said, right, you'll get didn't say you will get, but on the anniversary of you buying your car, you got a birthday card from Joe. Because you've had to give your driving license when you buy the car, what information did he have on you?
Your address.
Your address, and
Birthday.
Your birthday. So every year you got a birthday card from Joe, handwritten birthday card. Christmas, you got a Christmas card from Joe. Okay, and I think there was one other, I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was your wife's birthday or your partner's birthday or somebody else's, but it was at least 3 or 4 times a year you would get a card from Joe. Now, is that marketing material?
Yeah.
Is it adding value to that person's life?
Yeah.
Is it phoning that person up 4 times a year saying, do you want a new car? Do you want a new car? Do you want a new car? No. Okay, but so by doing that, and maybe in there was an offer or something, or refer a friend, but by keeping in contact with that person, every single person that he'd ever sold a car to, for the entire of his working life, and this was something like 30 years, and he was sending out thousands of cars per week. Thousands of cards. Okay, when they moved, because people would write to him and say, look, I've just moved. Great, I've got your new address. I'd send you a card for you for moving in. If you were going to buy a new car and you'd had this relationship with Joe, would you actually go somewhere else? Because he would say, look, whatever car you want, I'll get it for you. If I don't have it on the showroom, I will get you that car. Because he's got enough connections. So if I say, actually, I was looking for a little blue Fiesta, fantastic, great. Give me a week, I'll find you a blue Fiesta. Now, would you rather buy a blue Fiesta and pay a little bit more from Joe, or would you rather go off to another dealer and potentially be screwed over?
Pay a bit more.
So you've got to start thinking, be it in the eyes of your customer. If you can add value to them on a regular basis, but if you can keep in contact with them, then they will come back to you and they will give you referrals. If you provide that surprise, is it surprising that you get a card, a birthday card from a person who sold you a car 4 years ago? Yeah. How many cards have you got from a car dealer that sold you a car? Now, do you need a system? Do you need a good system to do that? Yeah, for sure. Okay, so, and it just amazes me, and I've talked this to, estate agents, and people like that, and it's like, it's a lot of work, isn't it? Oh, blimey, how much does that cost? If you gave a card, let's say 3 times a year, to one of your customers and they didn't buy from you for 10 years, okay, how much would that cost you?
A lot.
A lot. So how much does it cost if you went on funkypigeon.com? How much does it cost to send a card?
£3.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit more. Probably, let's say it's £5. Okay, so it's £5 a card. So it's a nice card. Yeah, 3 times. That's how much a year?
£15.
£15 for 10 years. How much is that?
150 quid.
150 quid. Okay, and this guy is making probably about £1,500 profit per car. So would you spend 150 quid to get 1,500 quid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he probably employs an admin junior to just do that all year round.
Yeah. And over that many, you know, over £1 million worth of sales, yeah, of course you'd do that. So we think, oh, £5, yeah, £5 a lot of money. But if we compare that to a marketing strategy that costs £150 to buy a lead, which you have a 50% chance of conversion, you know, it's cheap as chips. Okay, so again, you've got to know your numbers. You've got to be able to understand how your business is made up, leads, conversion rate, average transaction values. You know, do I spend it on lead generation? Do I spend it on my constant contact, keeping in touch with people? Sorry, what's going on with my computer? Oh, okay. So, and then, you know, once it's set up, you've got to systemize it and you've got to train the people to run it and you've got to delegate it. Okay, because if it's reliant on you, yeah, then chances are it won't get done. Certainly if you are the business owner. I know we've got some sort of non-business owners, but some team members here. So, but even if you're a team member, you know, you may not be here in 10 years' time. Okay, so you want to create a system so it continues to go whether you're there or whether you're not there. Okay, systemize it, train it, delegate it out to somebody else. You know, ideally these things like the card thing, that can be delegated to a very low cost person to do that. That could be the apprentice's job. First thing is, right, you have that system, you run it, you make sure it happens. It allows you to work on the higher level, the more enjoyable stuff, the more person to person interaction. So, where are we? Where do we get to? Home fun. First thing really is get your goals together. You know, really understand what is it you want from your existing client base. You know, what is your sales? What is your profit target from your existing client bases? Once you've got that, identify your A to D grade clients. You know, that's really number one. Review your prices. You know, always look at your prices because that's your quickest win. If you can increase a price by 10%, that goes straight to the bottom line. And then work on your loyalty schemes, you know, your VIP clubs, your Raving Fans. How are you going to keep clients for longer? How are you going to get them to actually refer work to you? You know, those are the key ways that you get this part of the 5 ways to actually really work. So, excellent. So I've run over a little bit, mainly because we seem to keep losing. Technology was letting me down today, but are there any specific questions on what we've covered today? No, have I answered all your questions from the start? So if you go back to the chat box or anything in there that I didn't cover, but, No, cool. So Harriet, what's the main thing from you today, and what are you going to do as a result?
I think, like you said, about treating like your VIP customers, so making sure they feel that little bit more special.
Yep.
And making the most of them and putting them to good use.
Cool, good. And start small. Don't go straight into the champagne and caviar and things. Just start small. Whatever you do it, and then be consistent. If you're going to set it up, do it and make sure it happens regularly. It's better to do something well regularly than do something really good once and then not do it again.
Yeah.
So cool. Dan, what about you? What's the main thing for you, and what are you going to do as a result? I'll come back to Dan. Neil?
The referral side of things, we've dabbled with referrals before, even with sort of associates that we use. But that's something that I want to be looking at. I've been, as you've been talking, I've made a long list of stuff here to actions anyway.
Cool.
To do. Yeah, and obviously Harriet being our sales and marketing coordinator, we'll be working together, on all of these things anyway.
Cool. Good. Gary?
Yeah, so the review your prices I've just recently done, starting in the new year. So I've gone up from £20 to £25 an hour, just as general maintenance across the board. Then create the loyalty scheme. So I kind of have an unsaid agreement with the people that use me regularly, that if they call me up and say, "Oh mate, I need this done quick," I'll jump. I'll do it as quick as I can within a couple of days, because sometimes it's quite responsive maintenance that needs doing ASAP. Whereas if someone called me up out of the blue that I'd never heard of and they say, "Oh, can you fix this for me tomorrow?" No, mate. You'll be on a list, and I'll come around and I'll see it and I'll talk to you, and we'll build that report first. So that loyalty thing's there to the ones that use me quite a lot. But it's the identify your A to D grade clients. So I kind of think that goes with hand in hand with the loyalty, is that the people that use me quite a lot, I will give them the better service and sort of jump through hoops for them, rather than possibly new people right now, because I want to make that strategic alliances, the strategic business connections with those people.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Good. Yeah, okay. Lovely. Pete?
Yes. I think the importance of that customer experience. As part of the team, my bit is making sure that experience is at the top level, to enable afterwards the rest of the team to do their follow up for the advocate, the Raving Fan bit.
And the big thing for that is sometimes it's, if you're the person that's going to be at the client's premises and things, you'll see things that might be good ammunition to then send back to the office to say, look, they everything's pink, they love pink, so get them pink flowers. They've got pictures of this, so get them something. So find things that are the personal bit, rather than just champagne. It's just, well, what champagne have they got in their wine cellar? So that's where you go from the sort of surprising to the amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the little attention to detail where you can help with them to actually achieve that. Nice, good. Sophie?
Well, this was the training I did before I joined the company. I'm not sure if you remember.
I don't know. Apologies. But
oh no, sorry, I shouldn't expect you to remember.
I suppose the good thing would be, did you pick up more things from it the second time round?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously now I'm actually in. It'll be really interesting to talk about, where the marketing's going, whether or not, we agree with the existing clients versus new clients, because obviously we had the before I joined, there was the dinner club and all that sort of thing, and whether or not there's a sort of COVID safe thing that we can continue to do for the next few months. But no, I got loads from this, and I thought it was really, really interesting. We're only talking today about how we're going to talk about how to heighten that customer experience and really, really make them raving fans.
Great, good. Angela?
Sorry.
Hi, sorry. Yeah, improve upon our personalization. And we've got some things already going in the system, but it's being more consistent with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the identification of A and B clients, sort of focus on those more, and sort of more well connected, or linking with who that sort of person is, and focus on those rather than the lower price market.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say you don't deal with those, but you know, in a way, sometimes you deal with them in a slightly different way. Yeah. You have sort of, you know, coach class and first class, you know, and you know, both get from there, but you meet their expectations and surprising, but they're just at slightly different levels. So
yeah, from our perspective, a client is a client, so we treat them the same, whether they're a high net worth client or a lower client. They've given us business, so we have to treat them well.
Yeah. So, cool. Right. Good.
In the background cooking.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm going to look into what you said, being more personal with the clients. Trying to find out a bit more of their likes, maybe a bit more family information. You never get to meet each other's families that often.
Yeah.
And I'm looking seriously at trying to put something together now for all the engineers. I liked the taxi analogy.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite good to try and put onto them where we are or where they feel we are of our customers, because at the end of the day, they are out there driving the taxis for me. So I really like that bit of it.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, sometimes it's difficult in your own business when you use analogies like that. Certainly with team members, if we were a taxi firm, you know, what would we be doing?
Yep.
And it helps people, because then it's not personal, because otherwise it's personal about you and your business, and sometimes it's
there's always someone that feels having the dig. Yeah. So good point, good idea on that. Good. Dan, are you able to contribute, or you might? Mike might just not be working, so I can't see any movement there. So excellent. Well, look, guys, it's been great having you on. Hopefully, you know, that's, you know, the masteries are really about getting those basics and sowing the seeds. As Sophie said, you know, do come back, because, you know, even me going through this, and I've been teaching this for 15 years, I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's a couple of things I need to do again. There's some things that I've stopped doing, or you should start again. So you always pick up something, you know, different, you know, in the space that you give yourself to do this. So good. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Do remember BizX, you know, with come and see Alan Sugar, Seth Godin, Paul McKenna, you know, some great speakers. We've only got a week to go to get for me to actually get the discounted rates. We've and keep a lookout for the Big Friday finish speakers. You know, we're going to continue those, I think, certainly for the foreseeable future, because they're going down really well. And I think it is time mastery in 2 weeks' time. So I'll hopefully see some of you along for that one. So take care, guys. Have a good end of the week, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, Kevin. Great.
Thanks,
Take care.
Cheers.